Let's review the COMS 4850 syllabus. So if you look on page 1, the first thing you should see is my contact information. Again, you should be aware from the previous video that hptprofessor@yahoo.com is my preferred contact email because all of the students email me at that address versus at my GSU email I get all sorts of emails from everybody. So in order to keep track of what is student and what is not, I prefer you to email me at my hptprofessor@yahoo.com. You see my phone and my office numbers as well as my office hours and our internet class website, which again the previous video made you aware that we are using Blackboard, and we also have this internet class website which houses all of the class documents. You don't need a username or password to go to that site. You could just type in that URL and go directly there. On your own, you can read the course description as well as all of the course objectives for our class. You'll see that you're going to be focused on a variety of performances that are focused on analyzing and examining the various relationships between ethics and communication, as well as distinctions within the overall field of communication, whether it be media or public relation issues or propaganda or legal issues and so forth. You'll see on page 2 that there are 2 required texts for this class. You have ethics and human communication, and you have ethics and media communication, and both those books can be found at the GSU bookstore. You also have additional class materials, again, at our class internet website. So you see also on page 2 that there are 8 assignments for this class, and we're going to go through all of them. Please note that late work, you get up to 72 hours from the point of when it's due, and you get a 30% deduction in points if you're late, and that starts from a minute that you're late onward. So you really want to get your work in on time. 11:59 p.m. is the deadline, and so you need to make sure that you get it in on time, otherwise you will get late point deductions. I should also say too, I do not believe in extra credit, so it's always best to put your best foot forward. I don't think extra credit is fair because those students who do put their best foot forward do so and they don't need extra credit. And so I'm here to support the optimal performers, and I want you all to be optimal performers, so it's wise to do your best work at the get-go. Okay, so let's go through each of the specific assignments. You see that the first assignment is a midterm exam. That's going to be a multiple choice test. It has 27 questions. Each are worth 2 points. Now you'll have the test ahead of time. Matter of fact, if you go to the class internet website now, you can actually download the test. You can also use your book. However, you're expected to work alone. Once you go through the test and you have your questions, so let's say you download the test and as you're reading you're answering the test questions and circling them. Once you complete that, and once I have the Blackboard test open to students, then you could access the Blackboard test link and go ahead and just submit your answer. So you're going to actually use your hard copy test and just implement the answers as if Blackboard was sort of a Scantron sheet. So you'll submit your answers, and those for that midterm are due February 27th. And again, you need to have those in the Blackboard test area by 11:59 p.m. in order for it to be considered on time. You also have a final exam. I should say too, the midterm relates to the materials in the ethics for human communication, and the final relates to the ethics in media communication. The final exam has 23 questions. Each question is worth 2 points each. You'll see that both the final and the midterm collectively equal 100 points. Final is due on the last day of our class meeting, which is May 1st. So your third assignment is a journal article quiz, and here you're going to first download a case study, which is dealing with ethics in organizations. And after reading the case study, then you're going to answer a multiple choice quiz that contains 10 questions. Each question is worth 1 point. And again, while you're given the test ahead of time, you can use the case study as an open book type of thing, but you are expected to work alone. So you could go ahead and download the test from the class website, and then once the test is open to students to submit answers, you could go ahead and do that on Blackboard. And that's going to be due on February 13th. And again, you have to have it in by 11:59 p.m. Notice that the fourth assignment is where you're going to be creating a personal and professional code of ethics. And to get more information about that assignment, you want to go to our class internet website, and I have a detailed description and the criteria for that assignment. For assignments 5, 6, and 7, those all kind of go together. What I'm going to actually have you guys do is apply for a hypothetical job. So you're going to actually submit a resume and complete a video presentation in order to get the job. And we're going to post the resumes and the video presentations, and then we're going to have the class vote on the best candidate. And as you read from the various descriptions that I've written for these tasks, and which again you can find on our class internet website, you'll see that I will take into consideration the vote of the class, but in order to make sure that's not a personality contest, I am going to end up deciding who gets the job. Whoever gets the job is going to get an additional 5 points toward their total class grade. And after we do that, there's going to be a debrief on applying for the job. And really, the debrief is what really relates to the ethics portion of this class. And so you can get more information about those 3 assignments by going to our internet class website. And do note that there are different dates for each. So you're posting your resume and video presentation on March 20th. There'll be the voting, which will occur by March 27th. And then there'll be the debrief, which will occur by April 3rd. Notice that in some cases you'll be posting information such as the resume and video presentation, which will get posted to the appropriate Blackboard discussion thread. In contrast, the voting, when you actually vote, you're going to email me at my hpntprofessor@yahoo. So make sure when you're scanning the information for the class and reading all the criteria sheets found on our internet class website to make sure that you are acknowledging within your own notes to yourself not only the due dates, but where things are getting either sent or posted. Also, you'll have a 8th assignment, which is dealing with 3 case studies. And again, if you go to our internet class website, you'll get the detailed information and criteria for all 3 of those case studies. And you'll see collectively that is worth 30 points. I forgot to mention, in some cases, you'll actually lose points if you don't turn something in. So the reason I do that is because the assignment itself is really of intrinsic value for you in terms of what you put in it is what you're going to get out of it, such as the debrief on applying for a job. So I'm not going to be evaluating actually what you do, but if you don't do it, you're going to actually lose points. So you should always take the approach too that everything you do in class, I would look from the perspective of, can I use this as within a job portfolio? So everything we do, you want to think of not only for the purpose of this class and to be successful in this class, but how you can start building a portfolio if you already haven't already done so, perhaps with some of the assignments of your other classes, to think, how can I use this for getting a job? Because some of the things that you'll do in this class will be useful for the outside world. Okay, then following that information, you have an extensive agenda. as you'll see, you have the agenda within the back of your syllabus. I also have the agenda in and of itself posted under the assignments link in your Blackboard class. And the agenda gives you week by week what you need to do, whether it be watching videos, reading your chapters for the various books. Please note that when I when I acknowledge that under the textbook readings, that applies to the Ethics in Human Communication textbook. The EMC applies to the Ethics in Media Communication. You'll see for the first part of this first part of the semester, I'm having you read the Ethics in Human Communication, and for the second part, we get to the Ethics in Media Communication. One thing I want to give you a heads up though, because you may want to strategize how you do your readings. Even though you need to read the Ethics in Human Communication at the beginning of the semester, because the midterm will occur on February 27th. For those of you who are tight on time, I would recommend also reading the Ethics in Media Communication early on in the semester. And the reason that is you'll see that in the beginning of the semester, there's a lot of time to give you there's a lot of time to acclimate you to the materials that you're learning here. So you can see here in the first number of weeks, actually probably 4 weeks, all I'm having you do is view various videos and reading chapters. And then when you get to February 13th, then you have your journal article that you're reading and taking a quiz. Again, though, the following week you're still viewing videos, you're starting to draft your personal code of ethics. Then you're going to have your midterm, and then you're going to actually submit your personal and professional code of ethics. Then you have spring break. But after spring break, you no longer are just viewing videos and reading chapters. You can see everywhere in gray you'll be submitting something. So following spring break, it's going to get a little more intense because you're going to be doing something for every week. That's why if you're short on time, if you have 2 jobs and are handling a lot of things besides this class, you may want to do the Ethics and Media Communication reading along with the Human Communication Ethics book at the same time, even though the final, which is dealing with the Ethics and Media Communication, doesn't occur to the end, because you might feel a little overwhelmed toward the second part of the semester when you're turning in stuff all the time and you still have to read a number of chapters. The other thing too that I want you to be aware of, so you see all the links, everything that is that you need to do is linked. So you could go ahead and click the links or copy and paste the links. I have a PDF version of the syllabus, so you could just activate the link, and I have a Word document of the agenda on the Blackboard website. So if you prefer to copy and paste, you can do that. What I would recommend doing is, again, making sure you go to our class internet website at the www.drlanigan.com/comms4850 and download all of the class materials. Read everything, and if you have questions, email me so I can answer the questions. And just as a side note, it helps me when you ask specific questions, because then I could give you specific answers. But if you give me a general question such as, oh, I don't understand what we're supposed to do for the personal professional code of ethics, it's hard for me to respond to that because I've already created, a 3-4 page document on what you're supposed to do. So clearly it helps if you could give me specifics so I can help you out. Otherwise, that should do it for now. Go ahead, if you haven't, download the syllabus, get started, download the class materials, and again, start organizing yourself. And if you have questions, let me know.